Good afternoon to a sunny, little bit of cloud, fairly warm, garden looking nice, sorry about the washing. Wildlife pond has now got some edges on. Cat is at work, I've been left on my own, but it is still Peterborough. So, hope everybody is well. First off, thank you very much for all the birthday wishes. Yes, I'm now 60. Would you believe that? Fresh-faced young man like me. That gives me the right now to complain about other people, bad driving, children screaming, things like that. So, I'm at that age. What have we got for you today? This is just an update, really. Hopefully, at the end of this video, Kat's going to do some bits and pieces on water parameters that we have at the moment. I've just done some changes to the wildlife pond, so without further ado, I had to put some stable edges on for the wildlife pond because I was a bit nervous about my grandchildren stepping on the edge and sliding in. So I just basically put some decking on, and that's where we are. I'm going to have to do something about these green things, irises possibly, I don't know, but they need standing up. And we've got a wildlife camera set up there because we want to try and capture the local blackbirds having a bath in there. The goldfish have been up to their usual shenanigans, so it wouldn't surprise me in the near future that we get some babies. But they're all looking well. Still the same 20 in there, and we've had no bother, touch wood, from the herons. Moving on, we've just had a change of scenery. We're just trying things in different positions, so we've put that there for the time being. Got a little bit of a fire ready. We've tried to open this area up and we need to mend the grass. Bench has been put here. If anybody's got a quarantine tank that's 1200 by 1200, I can highly recommend these. They're a pop-up cover from Amazon, 38 quid, and they're exactly 1200 by 1200, and you can pin them down. And they're very, very stable, even in high winds. So, quarantine tanks, 1200 by 1200. This is the decking project I've been on with at the moment. And then I'm going to put an egg chair on that carabiner there. And then we wanted to put some bird feeders up, so we're directly in line with the kitchen. Sorry about my reflection. And so we've got a bigger deck. So without further ado, even further, just having a quick look at that before we disappear. What's been happening with these fish? Parasites, parasites, parasites. So first off, was there any major changes to the pond? No. We added some plants many weeks ago. That's Cat set up there. So I'll just show you the plants. These are coming on leaps and bounds. So they're all doing well, just basically being fed from the shower, which is there. I got some mind your own business from Terry Wright, but unfortunately that's where we are. So hopefully in the future that will grow, but up to now not doing very well. I think I may have killed it. The sun's come out now, it's absolutely beautiful. So the water parameters are absolutely spot on. We did have a concern over chlorine, but we got a chlorine tester and our chlorine is 5 parts per billion. I don't want to go too deep into this, I want to let Kat do her bit, but no chlorine. So what we've got is a lot of the koi on occasion are flicking and flashing, and we had no idea why. So like I said, Kat will do the pond parameters, But what we did is took in total 11 scrapes of these critters, and we found initially, sorry about the noise, I think it's a lorry, we found initially trichodina. So we PP'd the pond with the hope that we'd get rid of the trichodina, and then after the second dose we were still getting flicking and flashing. So we took more scrapes and found nothing, and then more scrapes again and found Chilodinella or Chilodinella, whichever part of the region you're in, but we only found one, and we had to really identify it and then treat it. So that was that. Then we got individual fish just being out of character. So the Achiba, which is generally first up and eating, you can just see that just down there disappearing, sorry. The Achiba was doing a bit of flicking, but in between gorging itself on food, so it wasn't off its food. So we salt bathed it. That was a sight to behold, because within 1 minute the Achiba tipped over onto its side and it just basically wasn't playing. So we quickly got it out, quickly back in the pond, and it has been absolutely fine ever since. The Sankey with the gammy fin, we call Rachel, that had a lot of red sores on its underside. And we're not talking like pox or sores, it just like almost like a blemish. So we dipped that in PP, and within a couple of days absolutely fine. The pinkness dropped off and we were happy with that. But the odd flick still continues, so we can go down the route of either just having a scratch, or is there something that we still haven't identified after 11 scrapes? Difficult to know, but we are monitoring the situation. I understand that many other koi keepers, especially at this time of the year, are suffering with parasites. I know Righty is one of them. He's been struggling, poor chap, so hello Righty, hope you're okay. I'll get up and see you as soon as I can, mate. I'm a bit busy at the moment. And also the Soragoi was having a bit of a flick and a flash, but none of it has put it off their feeding. Now our fish, I don't know if your fish are the same, but our fish tend to feed early in the morning and then late at night. They're like early diners and late diners, but they're forever grazing as well. So it's still a bit of a mystery. Even have them watching now, not one of them's flicked or flashed. There we have it. Where do we go from here? So I'm just going to check my notes, see what I've got down to. So we've done the water parameters, we've done the trick, we've done the net cover. There was no flukes or costia out of 11 slides, nothing like that. The big blue working perfectly, so thanks to Andy Finch. The chemicals that we've used are FMG, acroflavin, PP and salt, and PP and salt baths. Not all at once, I stress to update you on, not all at once, but following the manufacturer's recommendations. I think that's about covers everything that's on my list. I had to get a list because I'm 60, I have to write stuff down. We'll go have a look at the filter. I'll follow you. So the upflow filter is working perfectly. These are the filters from the wildlife pond. I've just had a change around with where I've put the air pumps to try and get rid of the clutter and open things up. Oh, let's get this lid up. The QK15 combi is working brilliantly. Touch wood, not had an issue at all, so I'm so pleased with it. So that's where we are, folks. The garden's looking lovely. The fish, when they're on camera, are behaving perfectly, but as soon as the camera gets turned off, they just have a crazy 2 or 3 minutes. If you can think of anything that I've missed, please let me know, because it's getting to the point where it's like, what am I supposed to try next? Or am I just basically going too deep? And I should be adopting the hands-off approach. I don't know. And before I forget, best of luck to Devon Koi Pond, to Martin, for your upcoming op. Hope everything goes alright for you. I think it's the 26th, I think you last mentioned it. And again, thanks again for the birthday wishes. It's great being 60. Yeah, okay. One of the fish that we've had for many a year and just does not seem to grow at all, always seems to be covered in pox. Very, very difficult to catch, but I finally caught it and treated it because of the fungus growths on its side. We do call it Clint because it's a fish with no name. We just cannot identify it, but if I can just find Clint... Oh, it's just disappeared. So we're looking at the... I'll not be able to find it now. It's the orange one down there. But the dips seem to have done that a world of good. Now we've managed to catch it. The infected areas around its tail wrist seem to be doing really well and cleaning up very nicely. Water clarity, absolutely perfect. We love it. Cleaning the windows with the doubling duster, no issues at all. So that's where we are. Maybe I'm looking into this too deep. Maybe. And the 3 new fish are doing absolutely fine. The Usagi and the Shisui and the I can't remember the name. But after a trip down to Perfect Aquatics to see Crafty Koi, we are very happy with our purchases, so thank you very much, Crafty, for that. And your friend, I can't remember his name, but he was the one that selected the Usagi, and I'm so pleased with it. So hopefully I'll get back to you, or Kat will get back to you at the end of this video. So in the meantime, look after yourself, stay safe, and 4 jabs. Goodbye.
So, good evening everybody. As you can see, we've had a bit of a time with the fish, but well, they're behaving like fish now. And they're kind of curious, and that's what we like. Yeah, so I'm sure Steve's caught you up to date with quite a big time with the fish. I don't know if you can see or not, I'm wearing my gardening clothes. So a little bit of an update. Firstly, I'll go in here because it's a bit quieter. So the pond, just quickly talking about water parameters. So obviously with the fish having been a bit anyhow, they've not been feeding, well, they've been feeding in the evening. Been quite a bit of flicking and flashing, although we did notice yesterday that is really particularly if we fed them with shrimp. So having not given them any shrimp today, they've been a lot calmer, and they're now eating a lot better. Obviously we've had a lot of scrapes and things, so I checked the water parameters. Now the big change that I've made is I bought a new toy, and I've succumbed to one of these. Yeah, so we've got the big blue, that's been running for a year, or well over a year actually now, with no change in carbon. But just wasn't sure. We bought these DPD tablets, and when I bought them, they'd obviously been on the shelf a while because the little patches that told you what the colour meant, what the concentration was, were obviously quite faded by the sun. we've had these problems. It's like I'm nearly running out. I just don't quite trust them. And they showed that we didn't have a whole lot of chlorine in, but I didn't trust them. So we tried with thiosulfate anyway, given that that wouldn't be any harm to the fish. I did a full water test a week after that, and that was the first one with the hanometer. And we got a chlorine of 0, but we had the thiosulfate in, so not really a surprise. Bear in mind, I don't know if you remember, we've got chloramine, so what I had to buy one for a total chlorine rather than just chloride or chlorine, free chlorine. Left it a couple of weeks, again thinking, well, it's not really particularly accurate because we put the thiosulfate in, and if the big blue needs changing or needs a roll, then we sort of wouldn't know because we'd masked it. Checked it again last weekend, and despite putting PP in the pond, and I don't know if Steve said, we managed to get the PP to last about 45 minutes this time, which is actually the longest we've ever had it lasting. But despite that, despite the FMG, actually water parameters are absolutely fine. So we hadn't knocked the bacteria off in the biological. So ammonia was 0, so was nitrate, which is great. The chlorine was 5, so that means the meter's working, which is great. Been advised by people who know that we don't need to worry about it till it reads 50, 60 or so. So the chlorine is fine at the moment, but thiosulfate may be wearing off. So we'll check it again in a couple of weeks, and again to see if the big blue needs a roll, because that really helped last time. Just exposing fresh activated charcoal to the water, or the water to fresh activated charcoal, whichever, by giving it a shake, worked pretty well. So yes, the other parameters, again we've had a lot of rain, so GH hardness is still 13, it's always going to be that, but our buffer, our KH, was down at 3, should be about 6, but we had just had quite a bit of rain and some really heavy stuff, so I'm just keeping an eye on that. Having looked at the official EA Met Office forecast, we've got 50% higher chance of having a heat wave in the next 3 months, so than is on average. So it may well be that we're going to start concentrating that water again, not diluting it with the rain. So I'm just going to leave that and just keep an eye on it. The pH is still fine, it's still running 8 to 8.5, that's what we run at. So I'm just going to sit on that KH. I'm not going to put any bicarb in because I suspect I'm probably not going to have to. Other gardening update, what have we been doing? Well, the geraniums that I tried to propagate last year failed completely, but obviously I did that, and then of course we had a really big heat wave. Tried another lot and it just didn't work. However, we've had a little bit more success with the rest of the herbs. So these are all cuttings that I've taken. So we've got a bit of, oh no, that's not. Sorry, that's grown from seed. That's a sweet marjoram. Written it on somewhere. That's an oregano. But we've got balm of Gilead, which I love. Really unusual smell, pink flowers, which the birds really like the seeds. I've had my balm of Gilead for 10 years, all frosts. This year came back and it just hadn't coped with the winter, because actually we've had quite a cold winter. So but I had a cutting of it, and actually I've had one in a pot, and that's fine. We've got some Laxa, for those of you which I've told you about before. I've got a mint, and there's a hot lips. That's the hot lips, which is a type of sage. So yeah, propagating does work. So I actually need to get some more geraniums, because they all got left outside unfortunately. So I need to get some more and start with the geraniums again. And again, just simple. A pot of, like, these ones are going at the moment, so a pot of soil, take some cuttings, dip the end in water and then a rooting powder, and then keep the soil really quite moist. While we're talking of propagating, I've also done some comfrey. Now comfrey's a beautiful plant, I've got a colleague who wants a witch's garden, so she's going to get one. But that's so another comfrey that I dug up. Yeah, it's self-rooted. Cut the root off, split the crown, so there was about that much of root left, maybe less. Split the crown in half, stuck it in soil, kept it moist, and that was 2 weeks ago. So yeah, that's working pretty well. That's comfrey. So if you know anyone who wants some and you've got some, it's a pain to get rid of it once you've got it. It's quite big. It grows back obviously from a really small amount of root, but yeah, it's quite nice. We'll show you some comfrey. Feverfew grows wild around Peterborough, so she can have some of that. Yeah, so yeah, it's great because you get all sorts of wonderful things just springing up. What else is there plant-wise to show you? Yeah, so all the veg in. Got the tomatillos, again, got to have tomatillos, got lettuce. The bigger ones have been in the greenhouse, so they've now come outside. Steve just bought this to keep the seeds in, so I've got a few carrots. And I thought I'd try some lettuce in here to see if it makes any difference. You see little carrots at the end. And the little ones, and yeah, lettuce. So they've just gone in, and beans. And then the strawberry bed, which I was weeding in an earlier video. These are my strawberries, and it's so, yeah, lots of flowers. Little strawberries coming. Yay! So hopefully we'll have a few more, although I do always seem to manage to go on holiday on the week they're ready. Yeah, done a bit more general tidying up around the garden, getting rid of dock. So yeah, actually that was the other thing to mention. I mean, having talked about invasive species in the pond a few weeks ago. Yeah, we have a lot of bluebells because me and my naivety. Yeah, bluebells. I've got a lovely tree bed. I can have bulbs. I can have snowdrops, then daffodils, then bluebells. But of course, as you can see, they've all got a bit trampled. The only bluebells you could buy at the time were Spanish, and boy, are they invasive. So the roots grow, they get little bulbs. The bulbs, some of them are only 2 or 3 mil that you have to get out. So I'm trying to dig all those out. I cut them all back so they don't seed. They propagate by seed as well. So yeah, that was a bit of a mistake. It's quite difficult when you buy plants. They don't often say how much crowd control they need. And if plants are native, I've got a few of those. Yes, they might need digging out. That's not a problem. You know they might be happy, but yeah, when you're introducing an invasive species, you do regret it. I do have some English bluebells, not nearly as hardy or as aggressive. So yeah, hopefully the idea is to clear a bit of space for them. Yeah, but that's about where we're up to. The plants we put in, which might have introduced bugs, I don't know. They're now growing all right, so got a bit of mint, got the reedy stuff, a bit more mint, and that will be a nice lobelia when it comes up. So we'll show you that when we get some flowers, which hopefully we will. Yeah, so quick update. Hope you guys are all keeping well, and yeah, let us know if there's any comments. See you later. Take care. Bye.